Building Postagram, a full-stack photo-sharing app with React, GraphQL, and AWS Amplify. This podcast is brought to you by Business Compass LLC. We are an Amazon Web Services advanced consulting partner. We build and migrate workloads to Amazon Cloud. Our website is businesscompassllc.com. Our phone number is 973-638-2228. Our email address is contact@businesscompassllc.us. Introduction. Overview of Postagram and the AWS services used. Welcome to this podcast on building and deploying Postagram, a full-stack photo-sharing application using AWS services. Postagram allows users to upload, share, and manage photos seamlessly. We'll leverage AWS Amplify, GraphQL, AWS Cognito, and Amazon S3 to create a scalable and secure application. AWS services used. AWS Amplify simplifies the development and deployment of full-stack applications. GraphQL provides a flexible and efficient API for querying and mutating data. AWS Cognito handles user authentication and authorization. Amazon S3 offers scalable storage for images. Setting up your development environment, configuring the Amplify CLI and initializing your project. Install Amplify CLI. Ensure you have Node.js installed, then run. npm install g at AWS Amplify/cli. Configure Amplify. Set up Amplify CLI with your AWS credentials. Amplify configure. Initialize project. Create a new React project and initialize Amplify. npx create React app Postagram. cd Postagram. Amplify init. Creating a GraphQL API, designing the schema and generating AWS resources. Add GraphQL API. Use Amplify to add a GraphQL API. Amplify add API. Design schema. Define your GraphQL schema, schema.graphql. Type post at model. ID, title, string, description, string. Image URL, string. Push changes. Deploy the API and generate the necessary resources. Amplify push. Connecting your React frontend to the GraphQL API, implementing queries and mutations. Install Amplify libraries. Add Amplify and AWS libraries to your React project. npm install AWS Amplify at AWS Amplify/UI React. Configure Amplify. Update src/index.js to configure Amplify. Import Amplify from AWS Amplify. Import config from /AWS exports. Amplify.configure config. Implement queries and mutations. Create and use GraphQL queries and mutations in your components. Import, API, GraphQL operation, from AWS Amplify. Import, list posts, from /GraphQL/queries. Import, create post, from /GraphQL/mutations. //fetch posts. Const fetch posts equals async, equals greater than. Const result equals await API. GraphQL operation list posts. Set post result.data.list post.items. Semicolon. / create a new post. Const add post equals async, equals greater than. Const new post equals title, description, image URL. Await API. GraphQL operation create post. Input, new post. Fetch posts. Semicolon. Implementing user authentication. Integrating AWS Cognito for secure access. Add authentication. Use Amplify to add authentication. Amplify add auth. Integrate Cognito. Use Amplify UI components for authentication in your app. Import, with Authenticator, from at AWS Amplify/UI React. Function app. Return. Div class name equals app greater than. h1 greater than welcome to Postagram /h1 greater than. /your app components / div. Semicolon. Export default with Authenticator app. Adding image storage with Amazon S3, configuring and utilizing S3 buckets. Add storage, use Amplify to add S3 storage. Amplify add storage. Configure S3, update src/index.js to include storage configuration. Import, storage, from AWS Amplify. / upload an image. Const upload image equals async, file, equals greater than. Const result equals await storage.putFile.name, file. Return result.key. Semicolon. Use S3 in the app. Integrate S3 with your GraphQL API to store image URLs. Deploying your full-stack app to AWS, leveraging AWS Amplify for hosting. Add hosting. Use Amplify to set up hosting. Amplify add hosting. Deploy app. Deploy your application to AWS. Amplify publish. Conclusion and next steps. Recap of the development process and potential enhancements. Congratulations! You've built and deployed a full-stack photo sharing app using React, GraphQL, AWS Amplify, Cognito, and S3. Here's a recap. Set up the development environment with Amplify. Created a GraphQL API and connected it to the React front-end. Implemented user authentication with AWS Cognito. Added image storage with Amazon S3. Deployed the application using AWS Amplify hosting. Potential enhancements. Implement real-time subscriptions for live updates. Add more granular access controls and permissions. Optimize image uploads and handling with AWS Lambda. Thank you for listening to our podcast. Please share this podcast, visit our website and follow our social media links.